Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Hiveswap. So some interesting conversation in chat that I just wanted to comment on is how Zebra, in general, makes people more mad than actually murderous characters, and it's just kind of funny because he's like a familiar kind of evil, and that makes it hard to forgive him, and that's just like a funny thing that it's like when you stop and think about it, it both does and it doesn't make perfect sense. Like you see the same thing with like you see big villainous characters, like the Diamonds in Steven Universe, who are responsible for like genocide across multiple planets, and everybody is all like really wants to like see them, get redeemed somehow. But then like you meet Zebra, who's just kind of like an asshole to people beneath him socially, and it's like, yeah, fuck that guy, and it's just kind of like, and it's just sort of a weird thing to think about because, like, it's easier to forgive someone for crimes that you're never going to see. Like, you're never going to meet Hitler, Like, you're never going to meet a Hitler and be asked to forgive Hitler for being Hitler. But you are probably going to have to meet and probably almost all of you have met a Zebra, and that Zebra has fucked you over in some way, and yeah, fuck that guy. I don't know. Oh yeah, now it's stuttering for me. Try refreshing your page. I refreshed the stream just now to try and get it going again. So hopefully it works for people. Also, that's the second Godwin tonight, yes. Also, one last thing I wanted to share with you all, because I noticed this the other day and it amused me, so hang on, we'll just transition to that. So, I was looking back over the view counts for my previous Friendsim videos. Here, let's blow this up so you can actually see that. And most of my videos on YouTube are in like the 400 to 500 range. Whoops, didn't mean to click that. So you can see like 350 for the most recent one, 400, 400, 400. Except for Naked Boy Malik, who's sitting pretty at 945, and the Beefcake Chahat, who's at 1.2k. So the thing I have learned this evening is that, I've learned two things. One, clickbait works. Clearly, because the videos that get the videos that promise you what you want, promise the audience what they want, and they will click on it. And the other thing is that the internet loves shirtless boys and big girls, giant women. This is what the internet loves. And it's like, I can't argue with it. I have evidence. I have supporting evidence for my claim. Alright. Back to the real thing. Fan service exists for a reason. Anyway, so next up we've got Karako Pierot. And I've got some grape Fago just for the occasion. So this should be interesting. The gold tooth has me slightly worried because that's one of Lord English's things. So we'll just see how this goes. All I want to be is the one who gets to see a giant woman. Giant woman. Yeah, there was Is that a bandolier of canned Fago? Yeah, that is what it appears to be. Yeah, another fun story. Last year I was at the convention and I went to a Steven Universe trivia contest, and like the people running the contest started to get a little frustrated because everybody knew every answer. They did not count on the clientele for this contest. Like, they were expecting like normal people off the street who like might not know the ins and outs of every single episode of Steven Universe, and that was what they got. So, like, I don't even know what... Let's see, what were some of the questions? Like one of the questions was, like, what was Greg's Like a Comet song used to sell? And the answer they were looking for was just burgers. Like they weren't even looking for Pepe's Burgers, which would be, like, the really correct answer, but, you know, that sort of thing. And finally, at one point, the guy just said, fuck it, sing Giant Woman, the whole song, you know, and the entire room in unison sang Giant Woman. It was great. Anyway, that's enough Steven Universe for now. It's time to click on Karako Pierot and see what this little purple troll is all about. It's weird seeing a tiny purple troll. Like I know, like even Gamzee, like none of the trolls have like canonical heights in Homestuck, but Gamzee is almost always depicted as being like a foot taller than everybody else, and so it's weird seeing a tiny purple troll. Having learned the dangers of using the public thoroughfares, you've taken to dodging down byways and skulking in weird areas, trying to spy out individuals who look ripe for friendship while avoiding the more criminally insane denizens. Just now you're following a winding footpath through the undergrowth surrounding the neighborhood where the local hives are spaced far apart. You came creeping along this footpath for safety. You should have known better. The undergrowth here is like most of the other life forms on Alternia, evolved to ruthlessly purge the gene pool of the weak and the reasonable. Coiled, spring-loaded stalks with foot-long thorns flank writhing bushes with razor-edged leaves, which in turn crowd tentacled flora with toothed lobes oozing liquid that hisses and smokes when it touches the ground. Gamzee and Kurlos have made it so that every time I see a purple blood, it triggers my fight or flight instincts. Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, like I said, I'm still uneasy about this little guy, even though he's, like, looks small and adorable at the moment. Extreme caution is needed, just as it's needed in every circumstance on this planet. While your time on Alternia has gotten you accustomed to injuries, you still shrink at being impaled on sprung thorns and dissolved in acid. You should have known that eventually you would have to come up against the local flora, so you proceed discreetly, avoiding poison fronds and trying not to step on trigger roots. But suddenly your vegetative focus is interrupted. You hear footsteps on the path, and then around the corner comes a small figure. Its face and horns are painted with smudged black and white marks. Despite its diminutive physique, it has the most impressive horns you've seen on any troll. What? What? And I see a bunch of knives. That's great. It's a good start. When the small figure sees you too, it is so startled it jumps a foot, impaling its horns on an overhanging tree branch and sticking there so that its small legs pump helplessly in the air. Oh my god. Oh, he's stuck. He's stuck on it. Oh, it's a great image. I want all the fan art of that. It's like fan art. It's been an hour since this thing came out. It's been 2 hours, in fact, since this thing came out. So I want fan art of this right now. Honk. You beg the small person's pardon and assure him that you're fully as startled as he is. Oh yeah, everyone's saying is like, oh yeah, his horns are so impressive. It's like, Shot had like the fucking, you know, her horns were as big as you were. Her horns were like half her own body, for that matter. You go on to explain that you are not dangerous. Even if you were, you would not want to come to strife with even a small person with horns of that size. Honk? Yes, you will be happy to help him down as long as he promises not to attack you with the many belated weapons that are stuffed into his belt, or with the dozen cans of an inexpensive soft drink held in bandoliers crossing his chest. Speaking of which, should have gotten canned Faygo for this. Yes, of course, Faygo comes in cans. Why would it not? It strikes you suddenly that a neighborly gesture like helping someone Like helping someone whose horns are stuck in a tree branch can scarcely fail to kindle the light of friendship. You dare to hope that this will be the case now. Edging forward, you get close enough to see that around the small clown's neck hangs a dog tag or ID necklace. You tilt your head and crane your neck to read the writing on it. Karako Pierot. If lost, call Bronia! Suddenly, this all makes sense. This Karako Pierot must have been one of Bronia's reject runt wrigglers, who, having grown to childhood under her tender care, has gone out into the world to seek his fortune. That would account for his small size, short legs, and small stature relative to his horns. You eagerly pull your palm husk, happy for an excuse to pester your old friend, but you've got zero signal out here. You wonder if the surrounding vegetation eats palm husk signals, just like it looks like it eats everything else. You disappointedly slip your palm husk back to your pocket. Honk. You apologize for the delay, explaining that you were surprised to find that you appear to have an acquaintance in common, whom you hope you will have time to discuss later. For now, you are ready, willing, and hopefully able to help him down. I love how MSPA Reader has become so much more locucious, just to make up for Caracole. You hope he won't be offended if you slip behind him first. It's not that you object to bladed weapons or those who stuff dozens of them in their belts, but you feel like the ones he's wearing would ruin your look if buried in your torso, however unintentionally. You wedge past the weapons, being careful not to touch the spring thorns growing at the edge of the path, or their trigger roots. Once you're behind Caracole, you grasp his horns firmly and pull, withdrawing them from the tree branch and allowing him to drop lightly to the ground. Honk! You tell him that he's very welcome, then there's a moment of awkward silence as you try to think of something else to say. Fortunately, your new potential friend is not as devoid of the social graces as you are, and gets the conversational ball rolling himself. Honk. Honk? Oh my god, he's adorable. Oh, god damn it. You explain that you are indeed a stranger in these parts, and that you actually don't fit into any of the emo spectrum categories. Wild, right? Although not quite as strange as you used to be, you like to think, you're really starting to blend in with the local color. Honk? Well, you'd rather not exhibit your blood just now. You're a couple of chords low due to the robust conditions of life on Alternia, some of which you have recently had the honor of encountering. I mean, he's not silent though. He's honking. It's like we've got like a Chewbacca thing going on here, where MSPA Reader seems to understand him just fine. Yeah, he's a Pokemon. That's what he is. He's a Pokemon. He's not a mime. He's a Pokemon. It's perfect. Honk. You sympathize. Slinking along these hidden paths in the Alternian woods can be tough on morale. Yeah, we just started. The smell alone is enough to make strongmen weep, and the vegetation looks like it was designed by the Marquis de Sade. Not that he knows who the Marquis de Sade is. You can't help but feel that this would be so much better if one only had a skull. You continue. How wonderful it would be to travel these dusky lanes with a kindred spirit, a twin soul, a fellow traveler, an intimate crony. You're such an expert at friend synonyms by now. Honk? No, you haven't met anyone like that either, but you would certainly like to. Excuse me. Your new potential friend is obviously thinking seriously about this issue, so you back off. Excuse me. Give him space. You pretend to be deeply immersed in studying one of these razor-sharp leaves on one of the writhing bushes besides the path. You aren't one to force yourself on others, or try to unduly influence their friendship decisions. Okay, well, maybe you forced yourself on others in the past, and tried to influence their friendship decisions. Maybe you've even done this a lot, but you've recently evolved as a person. You now know that friendship is something that has to come authentically from within. Friendship is spontaneous. Real friendship spouts naturally from the soul of mutual respect. The best friendships grow and ripen over years. and are not rushed or forced. Of course, you've only known this small person for about 5 minutes, but you have to start repeating sometime. You're reflecting thus on the theme of friendship when a loud pours suddenly from the sky above you. It's a crackling, sizzling sound, like a chitinous thing with too many legs struggling on a hot frying pan. Small honk, friend. Caracole jumps so violently that he nearly gets his horn stuck in the tree again. Looking up, you see a floating metal object, vaguely troll-shaped but huge, faceless metal, and with numerous sets of lightning bolt-shaped horns coming out of its head and neck. What the hell? It's also a very sparkling conversationalist. It remarks in a flat, echoing bear. It elaborates further. Honk! Drone. Run, a drone. Leap to defend your proto friend's aid. I don't know, I could see this going 50-50, to be honest. Small as he is, I think Karako has the better chance against the drone. Than we do. Let's see. Let's try running. We'll see what happens. You run in a wild panic. It's a drone. Oh, I was hoping you... See, the reason why I thought this would work is I hoped you would, like, grab Karako. You run in a wild panic. It's a drone. Even the Alternian badasses you've hung out with have been terrified of the drones. Up close, it's one of the most terrifying things you've ever seen, and it's making noises, which you didn't know they even did, and which probably means something sinister. You race at top speed down the twisted path, focusing your senses to their breaking point to avoid trigger roots, razor leaves, and acid pods. At first you hear the pattering of small feet running behind you, but as you redouble your speed, the pattering follows behind and after a while is lost in the distance. Oh no! You sprint for what seems a lifetime before you finally catch your foot on a trigger root and go flying through the air, barely missing being sliced into 100 pieces of tumbling ham by the barbed spring vine that lashes across the path only inches behind you. You land in the dirt, wind knocked out of you, but otherwise unhurt. You lie there catching your breath and waiting, but nothing happens. No enormous metal monster... I heard a honk there. No enormous metal monster whizzing down the path to impale you. No small clown-faced individual overtakes you in his short legs. Finally, after enough nothing happens, you pick yourself up and dust yourself off. You're alone on the path, and no sound of either friend or potential friend or foe can be heard. No birds sing, which is probably good. You imagine any birds native to this forest would probably sing by croaking up putrid sludge, and that the sludge would be poisonous or radioactive. But leaving aside the character of the local flora, what should you do? Keep on down the path, putting more distance between yourself and the drone? Or should you go back and see if Karako is okay? You waffle for a bit, then decide to go back. You sneak back along the path. You sneak a long, long way. But however far you go, there are no signs of either Karako or the drone. You don't know whether the drone picked Karako up and took him away, or disemboweled him and scattered the fragments, or whether Caracole leapt into the undergrowth and hid or escaped, or what. One way or another, you're all alone again on this path towards through Shitsmell's forest. Game over. Huh. Well, that was... Yeah. But yeah, the only reason I thought that might work was like we would escape together, but no such luck. Anyway, time to leap to your proto-friend's aid. You leap to your proto-friend's aid! Thinking quickly, you push Karako against a large rock that juts out of the undergrowth nearby, and jump in front of him, shielding him from the drone with your body. You then pretend to be leaning against the rock in an attitude of tranquil riposte. Several of the bladed weapons in Karako's belt poke you in the ass, but you don't let this show in your face. Instead, you yawn elaborately and check your wristwatch. You don't even have a wristwatch, but you don't think that drones know where the wristwatch is anyway. You pretend to smoke a non-existent cigarette. Again, you're not giving anything away, because drones don't know what cigarettes are either. But the drone has apparently taken an interest in you. It floats down between the trees and undergrowth and hovers above the path several meters from where you're pretending to relax against a rock after a long day of hiking through scenic shit-smell forest. It's quite a terrifying sight, actually. The drone observes soullessly, making Caracole jump so that several of your internal organs are threatened. However, you manage what you believe the local populace would call a stiff upper whistleblower. Whistle pillow? The drone's blank metal head studies you, or it could be studying something in the opposite direction, or even taking the drone equivalent of a piss. You can't really tell from its expression, because it has no features to make expressions with. This examination or non-examination continues for some time. But your diminutive potential friend is well hidden from view, and after a while, evidently concluding that you are an inanimate object that makes unaccountable gestures with its wrists and fingers, the drone floats upward again, gaining speed until with a dreary skizzle, it whizzles off somewhere to find another hapless non-standard citizen to euthanize. Whew. Okay. When it's gone, you stand away from the rock and rub several sore places that have been pierced by bladed weapons. You turn to Karako to comment on the recent fervor, but stopping you see the look he is directing at you. A warm and admiring look, an affectionate and esteemed look. A look of friendship! Your first impulse is to throw your arms around him and lean in, but on second thought, remembering his pants arsenal, you put out your hand for a warm handshake. Victory is so close. You've only had one decision, though, so it's still got to be a ways to go. But before you can seal the deal on this sweet friendship transaction, you hear a disturbance further down the path. The question is... God, can't the narrative chill for one single moment? Especially a moment when you're about to consummate a beautiful friendship? You turn to look. The footsteps, several sets of them, get nearer, and around the bend come three figures. Ooh, who are we going to get? Three figures wearing swimming outfits, lots of gold jewelry, and insolent expressions. Three figures with gills on their necks and small... Oh, interesting. With gills on their necks and small, stylized fins on their faces. We're going to meet some sea dwellers. Oh man, is it possible that you finally happened upon a group of the legendary sea dwellers? They stop short when they see you and Karako, obviously startled. They study you, you study them. Then, Finhead Interloper 1, in a one-piece and diamond earrings, whispers to her companions, and all three burst out laughing. Finhead Interloper 2, in a violet wetsuit and rings, slaps her thigh, and Finhead Interloper 3, in checkered swimming trunks, holds his sides. Part of you is relieved. Laughter drives out the devil, is the best medicine, and in any event is better than homicidal mania. On the other hand, this laughter isn't friendly. It's cold, mocking, and supercilious. These sea dwellers are obviously laughing at you, not with you. Oh boy. Chill. Play it cool, boy. Play it cool. You notice Karako's cheeks flushing purple under his face paint, and his jaw is clenched. His jaw is clenching. However, he just stares with stony dignity at the interlopers. This just makes them laugh harder. The first sea dweller says, "What are you two supposed to be? Shrimp Cassidy and the Squamonious Kid," says her second companion. "A callbait minnow and his mutated soft-shell crab," says her third. "Karako, be chill, the fish will kill you." There's the purple blood spirit. Looks like the Minnow who went down on the cloud, causing it to burst out the other side. The Sea Dweller's laughter is redoubled. You continue expressionless at these insults, but to your dismay, Caracole's face is taking on a harsh, glowering look. You guess that such a tiny dude has been victimized by bullies his whole life. And as you happen to know, there are no bullies like Alternia bullies. Honk. You tell him to let them talk all the shit they want. Don't let them provoke him. They're trying to get him to do something stupid. If he doesn't react, they'll get bored and go away. Honk! No! Remember that drone? It's probably still around here somewhere. Touch a scale on their heads and you could be rendered into Mother Grub's feedstock. Hey, bottom feeders! No whispering when you're in the presence of your bathers. And you, little boy, put a respectful expression on your recognition surface. Be more like your friend, the slender manatee over there. In fact, why is it you two are still perpendicular? In the presence of sea dwellers, you should be bowed at right anglers. Oh god, the fish puns. Knife time? Maybe knife time. The first sea dweller seems to have an affinity for cheesy ocean puns. You bow to the sea dwellers. You have your dignity, but you also like not getting killed. Oh, shit. Karako remains stubbornly upright, his face getting angrier and purpler by the moment. The bladed weapons on his belt jingle from his enraged trembling. Ooh. Aw, see the little clownfish? He's getting angrily. Fish friends, you don't want to push this. Looks like he's gonna shoot your pants. Oh, this is gonna end in blood. What did I tell you about your face, boy? Didn't your Lucius teach you anything? I don't think he had one. I doubt he even has a Lucius. A self-respecting Lucius would never let a shrimp like that out of the hive. Unless his Lucius is just as defective. Oh, this is... Yeah, his eyes turned purple with rage. Not purple, his eyes went orange with rage. There we go. The Lucius cracks are too much for Karako. Ignoring your hissed warnings, he suddenly leaps snarlingly into the air, drawing bladed weapons from his belt in each hand and hurling towards the sea dwellers. Honk honk! Grab him by the coattails and try to keep him from precipitating a disaster. Leap into the fray and lend comfort and support. Let's see. Knife time. Let's see. I think this is the one. I think the top one is less likely to work on the whole. So let's try that first. You leap forward to grab Karako by the coattails or by his belt. You aren't actually sure what a coattail is. Jesus, he's strong. You can barely hold him. It's like trying to restrain a small truck. His legs rotate wildly, kicking up a cloud of dust, and he brandishes his bladed weapons wildly in the direction of the sea dwellers. After a startled moment in which they jump backwards, the sea dwellers have started to laugh again, coming up with more stupid insults and fish puns. This is not helping. Karako runs twice as hard, honks twice as loud, shakes his weapons twice as threateningly. Hey, hey! You shout at Karako, trying to be heard above the fracas, holding on with all your might and digging in your heels. You have half a mind to just let him go, to pay the sea dwellers back for their insults, but you try to keep a cool head. You're doing your proto-good more good trying to restrain his wrath. You've now succeeded at wrapping your arms all the way around him, and now you get in front of him, holding him back with straight arms, bellowing soothingly into his face and trying to avoid the bladed weapons he is brandishing. But it's not working! You can see from the contorted features, the bared teeth, the descended nostrils with smoke coming out, the blazing eyes that Karako's getting more and more enraged. And suddenly his rage seems to reach a kindling point. His body vibrates violently, his eyes grow huge and round. And suddenly from his body, something like a nuclear blast, pressure wave of fear and violence sends you flying through the air like a scrapped paper in a gale. What the fuck? What? Are you hallucinating? Huh. But you can see as you soar above the path, the sea dwellers aren't laughing anymore. Holy shit! That chuckle voodoos? It might have been. It was something. In fact, they're screaming in terror and fleeing wildly, blundering into razor leaves, being impaled by string thorns, and burned by pod acid, and generally receiving the certain retribution that awaits assholes. Then your head collides with a tree branch, and you are rendered unable to narrate for a while. You wake up lying in so that was basically the Battle of 5 Armies right there. At least it was the book version of Battle of 5 Armies, in which nothing happens because Bilbo was knocked out the whole time. You wake up lying in the dust. As consciousness returns, you realize they are laying on the path. As it returns further, there's that small, clown-painted figure is seated next to you. Quite calm now. He smiles fondly as he sees you sit up. Honk! You smile in return. You express relief that he realizes you were acting in his best interest, holding you back from the Finheads. And now, though largely because of his unexpected bursts of clown sorcery, or whatever that was, everything has turned out for the best. Caracole holds up his arms for a hug, but then remembering the bladed weapons in his belt, sticks out his hand. You shake it warmly. Okay. So that happened. So we've got 1 friend and 3 dead sea dwellers. Interesting. Let's see how this... Really curious to see how this goes the other way. Leap into the fray and lend comfort and support. We have a honk friend. So what happened? You leap into a fray to lend comfort and support. I love how the first line of dialogue is now always like the choice. Oh dear. So this is probably going to get... I mean, this could be another... It's a little much to hope for, but this could be another Chixia situation where there are 2 good results. Kind of doubt it, but we'll just wait and see what happens. You leap into the fray to lend comfort and support. You would have counseled Karako to turn the other cheek and keep turning cheek after cheek until the sea dwellers get fed up and went away. But now that things have hotted up, you're not about to let down the side. Karako crashes into the sea dwellers, his bladed weapons whirling like a blender. You scamper close behind him and kick someone in the shin. It hurts your foot, but doesn't seem to have any other effect. These sea dwellers are made of tough stuff, or you're extremely flimsy. Signs have recently pointed to the latter. Your next sortie is more effective, however. Thinking quickly, you pick up a rock and throw it at the trigger root of a spring thorn growing along the path next to where the violet bloods are enduring Hurricane Clown. The coiled stalk springs out, impaling the dude with a 12-foot-long thorns. Jesus! He's thrown off balance, and violet blood begins to flow copiously down his body. That's a hue you haven't seen before. Kinda pretty. Jesus. MSPA reader is really starting to get just a little too comfortable with this much violence. But these sea dwellers are made of tough stuff. He yanks the spring-torn stalk away from him, pulling the thorns out, and flings it into the woods. Then he takes out a pocket handkerchief and starts patting his injuries gently. Here we go. Meanwhile, Karako's bladed weapons have not been idle. The other 2 sea dwellers are likewise leaking violet blood. But Karako's drawing a little blood too. But these sea dwellers are hard to kill. You remember Polypa telling you that, and as you watch, one of them grabs one of the bladed weapons from Karako's hand and buries it in his stomach. Ouch. This, unsurprisingly, is distracting for a poor little clown. Oh, don't hurt the clown. Allowing 2 of the finny sons of bitches to grab handfuls of bladed weapons from his belt and bury them in various parts of his body. You dance around delivering harmless kicks and curses. Oh no. Oh no. Karako is still waving his weapons, but he seems to be waving them more slowly now. Then, as more and more bladed weapons are buried in his body, he seems to lose focus. The weapons he's been brandishing fall from his hands. Oh no. Yeah, don't hurt the clown is a new one. Finally, he falls to the ground. in the center of a spraying pool of purple blood, twitching feebly for a minute and then is still. No, you can't kill the clown. It's against the rules. You stare in disbelief at the corpse of one who, if he had been spared just a short while longer, would have been your friend. One despised and rejected, a clown of suffering, familiar with pain. They'd flogged him and mocked him and spat at him, and then killed him. You struggled to come to terms with this. Then, while you're doing that, one of the remaining Sea Dwellers grabs you by the hair and suplexes you into the ground. Your head snaps back and pain explodes behind your eyes. You're left lying on your back and trying to stay conscious, which is why you have a good view of what happens next. In the dark sky above you, something opens. Something even darker than the sky. A hole like a... What the fuck? A hole like a cave in the clouds. Are we going to clown heaven? What? Going to the dark carnival. It widens until you can see that in the cave, a carousel with wooden horses mounted on brass posts rotates. The horses plunging up and down in time with carnival music playing by a mechanical organ. Riding the horses are naked straw store window mannequins, their legs swung awkwardly over the horses' backs, their stiff arms down by their sides in whatever pose they were created, their horns huge and wildly shaped. What the hell? In the darkness above the carousel, other naked mannequins with plastic wings tied to their backs are supported on wires. And above those in turn, a net of white Christmas tree lights twinkle against the roof of the dark cave, or circus tent, or whatever it is, throwing their dim starlight illumination down on the rotating carousel. As you watch, two of the winged mannequins, I'm pretty sure I don't think that's how you spell mannequin, break loose from their wires and fly down from that dark region in the night sky into the dimension Eternia occupies. Is that art of Gamgee holding baby cherubs? Like on top of the carousel? Maybe. They don't look like cherubs, though. They just look like more purple bloods. I mean, it might be, though. Like, it's got, like, the red and green, coloring. And those suns there. And, like, the central figure has, like, the, smile frowny thing going. They maneuver until the stiff hands on the ends of their stiff arms are underneath Karako, and then they lift him up into the sky and into the dark carnival. You hear a last faint, reviving honk as they set him on one of the wooden horses, and then the hole in the sky closes, and there is nothing but the night sky above you. All is silent and still again. An odd feeling comes over you. You don't think you've ever felt such a feeling. Just the reality of how utterly insignificant you are. Sure, you've spent the last few months wandering with no desire but the desire for connection. And you are, in a way, a being unique in this galaxy. But honestly, what does that even mean? You flit in and out of people's lives. There one minute, gone the next. Always moving from friend to friend. You are, for all intents and purposes, a virtual non-entity, a bland point of view vector, a neutral second-person narrator barely coming into the picture, a retiring entity, expressing only simple one-dimensional desire for friendship. But just about now, you feel that things have gone pretty far, and just about now you feel that you've had enough. Enough of arrogant high-bloods. Enough, in fact, of short-wavelength hemotypes carelessly and without compulsion, killing and maiming and exploiting those of longer wavelengths. Of a survival... Interesting little scientific reference there. Of a survival of the fittest regime that seems to come down to survival of the most violent sociopaths. Is this a moral universe or is it not? You ask yourself. Are repulsive cruelty and sickening evil punished in this universe or are they not? Does an ethical force operate in this universe or does it not? You don't know the answer to these questions, but you do know one thing. You intend to depart from your once one-dimensional persona. You intend to punish repulsive cruelty and sickening evil that comes within your ability to do so. You intend to create an ethical force field in your local region. You intend to exert some moral gravity right around where you are, if you possibly can. And you realize that this odd feeling you are having seems to be drawing moral Higgs bosons out of the moral ground state, and right out of the fabric of this multicolored blood-soaked planet that heaves under your feet. You take on the aspect of Clown Sarker? Seizing 2 cans of inexpensive soft drink from where they fell from Caracole's bandoliers, you shake them and pull the pins. Then, with malice aforethought, you direct the twin streams at the sea dwellers. You smell banana and strawberry as the deadly streams play across them. Already weakened, they fall back with cries under the withering onslaught. As soon as the streams slacken, you take out 2 more cans, shake them, and deal out death to the unrighteous. Jesus Christ. You smell peach and diet root beer this time, but no pity softens your heart. You wouldn't care even if they were pineapple watermelon you were spraying at these brutes. These are all real flavors of Faygo, by the way. But these finheads are made of tough stuff. Rallying even the feints of this intense onslaught, they push forward, and seizing some bladed weapons from the purple blood pool, advance upon you. Not one step. You vow to the memory of Karako Pierot. You stand your ground, in desperation grabbing some cans of diet tonic water and club soda, and opening up your batteries once again, but to no avail. A trident pierces you to the bone, followed by a scimitar, a tomahawk, a short spear, and so many other bladed weapons that the sheer weight of them drives you to the ground, where your red, precious blood flows in moderate streams, mixing with the purple blood of your proto-friend. This is the end, you realize. You're glad you died in righteous battle. You're glad you created even the tiny, spluttering, temporally moral force field in your local region that you did. You can feel your life and narrative point of view slipping away, but you are content. Yet what's that you see above you now? A dark space has opened up, even darker than the night sky, and 2 stiff-looking wicked fingers are descending. They land next to you and gently place their stiff hands under you. Then they ascend once again, lifting you higher and higher into the dark space. As you pass the boundary of the heavenly carnival, your life seems to revive within you, and as the fabric of the place closes around you and the 2 stiff mannequins place you on a carousel horse next to Caracole, you realize that planets, universes, dimensions, realities, powers, principalities, and cosmos come and go, that friendship is forever. Friendship. Okay. Yep, we died. So, Huh. Honking F. Friendship and death. It's like we did get the second good ending, sort of. Huh. So that's interesting. So this is the Dark Carnival. We found it. Huh. So yeah, pour one out. I don't have anywhere to pour this, where I wouldn't make a huge mess. So I'm just gonna drink it instead. So that was that. It's the second big mind fuck we've had into 2 weeks in a row. Last week we had Boulder. This week we have Karako, providing the mind fucks for the Friendsim. Karako's sign, by the way, is Caprira, sign of the unwavering, fitting name. He is a sign with prospect in mind. So, what about the deja vu? So yeah, we've had. So yeah, there was a lot of meta commentary in both of them, like because like in Marissa's route, there was the meta commentary of him thinking about Boulder and also thinking about Boulder's death at the same time, no less. And that's not even like a, because like previous instances, the timeline paradoxes have always been mutually exclusive. Like I don't think there's ever been a route like that before where MSPA reader referenced something that happened in one timeline and also something that happened in a mutually exclusive timeline. I think this is the first time where, like, if you play through the successful Marissa route, he references both the success and the failure route with Boulder. This is the most beautiful bad end so far. Yeah, it is. That too. And now here we are with this whole Dark Carnival thing with Karako. So, interesting week. Interesting week of the Friendsim. So I guess that's it for now. Next Friendsim will be in a couple weeks, and we'll see what happens then. Cause yeah, there is now more to this thing than just meet a troll, make a friend, see what happens. Shit's going down. It's like we're starting to get glimpses into the bigger picture here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. See you then.